Hello! Welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael and today I'm doing a video on why I quit learning the Russian language. I know it's been a while since I created a new video and I thought that this was the perfect topic to talk about considering I haven't really been sharing much of my language learning progress with you lately, especially when it comes to Russian. But I guess the cat's out of the bag now. I'm not studying Russian anymore. Sorry. There was a big hoopla on this channel for nothing. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the 4 main reasons why I no longer study Russian today as part of my language learning routine. But first, a disclaimer. Me not studying Russian is not political. I did not stop studying Russian because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. In fact, I decided to stop studying Russian in 2021. Further, I don't hold the actions of the Russian government against the Russian language, nor a majority of the Russian people. And disclaimer number 2. This video isn't meant to make other people feel bad about studying the Russian language. If you want to study Russian, you do you. Have a great time. I support you. So without further ado, here are the 4 reasons why I no longer study Russian. Reason number 1. Russian learning culture is highly sexualized. I said it, and I meant it, and I'm not sorry. I found it very difficult to find Russian language learning partners amongst the sea of people attempting to get married or move to a different location. Notice how I didn't say the Russian language was sexualized or that Russian people are sexualized. The whole culture, the whole discourse surrounding the learning of the Russian language, I just found to be a little bit too much. Granted, people are allowed to learn a language for love. I learned a language because my partner speaks a different language than me, but I just found it really in your face in Russian language learning communities. In fact, there are entire chapters in language learning textbooks for Russian that are dedicated to attempting to find and court a Russian or Ukrainian woman for love. And it seemed that whenever I entered in language learning exchange partnerships with other people, the focus was on things that had nothing to do with the language. Reason number 2 why I am no longer studying the Russian language, and this has more to do with me than it does with anybody else, I found the Russian language extremely hard. I'm not even afraid to admit that. I just had a really hard time remembering Russian vocabulary because it was so dissimilar from vocabulary I knew in other languages. I found Russian grammar just needlessly difficult between verb conjugations and different words for the verb go and all the different endings for all the different noun cases. At the end of the day, I just felt so bogged down with Russian grammar that I wasn't really making progress in the language itself. And now I know, I've said before that you shouldn't just focus on learning a language's grammar, but in the case of Russian, not studying the grammar a little bit was leading me to not really be able to understand what was going on in the rest of the language. Reason number 3 why I no longer study Russian. I was too busy. Let me set the scene for you. It's 2020, I'm backpacking Asia, there is a worldwide pandemic, and I'm forced to come home. This sounds like the perfect time to study a language, in quarantine. However, I had a new teaching degree, and I got a full-time job as a French teacher here in Canada. In fact, I wasn't really studying any language at that time. And even when I managed to find an hour here or there to study Russian, I found that I was spending majority of my time reviewing previous things that I had already learned and that I wasn't retaining, rather than learning new things and enjoying the process of acquiring the language. Reason number 4 why I am no longer studying the Russian language, and this probably makes sense to you considering everything I just said, I wasn't motivated to learn the language. And if you're not motivated to learn a language, you're not going to learn it. Over the years, I struggled to find meaningful language partners because of the sexualized nature of the Russian learning community. I was way too busy to learn a language from scratch, especially considering I had just started a full-time job. And the language itself wasn't doing me any favors because it was super difficult in comparison to other languages I had learned. All of that made me feel depressed, upset, and ultimately didn't make me want to keep hitting the books, or listening to the language, or studying the grammar when I did have free time. Now, does that mean that I won't be studying Russian in the future? In the short term, yeah. Right now, my focus is on learning other languages, specifically Spanish and Danish, 2 languages that I've been interested in a really long time, and I kind of already have a base in because they're related to other languages I've already studied. That doesn't mean that I don't find the Russian language fascinating. I love the Cyrillic alphabet, I love the way Russian sounds, and I am still really interested in Russian culture and in Russian history. Who knows, maybe if there's a regime change, I'll be able to go to St. Petersburg or Moscow or take the Trans-Siberian Railroad and travel across the country. I'm interested in your thoughts. Leave a comment below if you have studied or are studying the Russian language. And also let me know if you've ever decided not to study a language and what your reasons were. As usual, except not really usual because this is the first video in like 3 years, thank you for watching the Polyglot Files. I will see you next time. Goodbye! Should I dance? Do we still dance? Is dancing cool? I don't even know the name of the song. I'll just sing it. Doesn't hit the same.